Hello guys, myself Anirban Biswas. Welcome to my channel Amazing Chess. This is the fourth video of my channel. I hope all you guys like my previous videos. Today we are going to learn some more thing about chess, some basic more thing about chess. Okay? So now today we are going to learn so many things. The first thing is board setup. Okay? Board setup means how you are a chess player, so how you will set your board. Okay, this is actually an initial position of a game. Okay, so make any move to continue. Specifically in chess you should make some move that actually focus on center. You should make a move that focuses on center more than flank side. Okay, like you can play e4. Okay, now rooks are always in the corner. Okay, rooks are always in the corner like that. Okay, the second thing is knight. Knights are actually on the right side of the rooks. They're basically on these two square. Okay, so how can you move your this knights? Okay, first you can play this, then this, then this, and finally this. Okay, bishops are always on these squares, like in the c file and in the f file, c1 and f1 square. Okay, like this. Okay, queens are, white queen always stand in the white square and black queen always stand on the black square, so like this. Okay, and king, the remaining square, the king was there. Fine. Pawns from the front line. So the front line, basically you have pawns, and in the back line you have the pieces. Okay, fine. So the second thing we are going to learn is castling. Okay, castling, very important thing of chess. Castling is basically a protection move, because in the game of chess you also need to focus one thing, and that is king safety. You need to focus on king safety. Okay, so that's why there is a move called castle, where king and rook actually swap their places. Okay, so when you do castle, there are some rules. There are some rules in the castling. But basically castling is king actually going to square and rook will come here like this, and the rook comes the side. So it is a queen side castle. First we saw the king side castle. This is a queen side castle. Why it is a queen side castle? Because actually it is queen's rook, because queen is more close of the rook than the king. Okay, because you know this is the white square, this is a d1. Queen was there, white queen was there, so the a1 rook is actually the queen's rook, and the h1, you can see the blue color, this h1 rook is the king's rook. First we saw the king side castle, now we are going to see queen side castle, and some people called it long castle, because this is a long, you can see this is a long, where this is a short. Okay, so the same thing, king actually go to square and rook comes on the opposite side. Okay, so the third thing, the knight is in the way, move it, then castle king side. Okay, so the king can't castle right now because there is a knight who act as a blockade. So you need to move the knight, then you can castle like this. Okay, you can't castle right now because there is bishop and knight. So play this, then this, then this, then you can castle. Okay, here they tell you castle queen side. So how you will castle? Queen side. Okay, so play this, then play bishop then move the knight, then move the queen, and finally you can castle queenside. Okay. Now the problem is, in the castle rule, you cannot castle if the king has already moved or the rook has already moved. Means basically your king and rook both need to be virgin if you want to do castle. So the king and rook both need to be virgin, both need to be untouched. That the castle must be the first move of both the king and rook. Here in this case, the rook g1 moved, because you can see the blue color, the rook was on h1, now it moved on g1, so you can't castle with this rook because this rook moved. But this a1 rook is untouched like the king, so here you can play castle queen side. You can't play castle king side because this rook moved, okay, from h1 to g1, but this rook on a1 not moved, so you can castle queen side. Okay, you can castle queen side. Now another rule is, you cannot castle if the king is attacked on the way, block the check, then castle. Okay, you can't castle through the check. You can see the black bishop controlling the f1 square, so the king can't castle right now because it is a check square, so king can't castle through the check. First you need to block. Now you block this, now you can castle. Okay, now you can castle. Okay, fine. Now another thing is, the king first of all can play this move, bishop takes knight, then you can castle easily. Okay, now this one is very tough, a queenside castle. The problem is the king can't castle through the check and the king can't castle on the square that was checked by the opponent piece, by the enemy piece. Suppose if the knight on b1, listen carefully, if the knight on b1 was not there, the king can castle. You can say king can castle, but it can't castle because of some reason. First, the knight on c3 controlling the square on d1, and the bishop on h6 controlling the castle square. Like if you castle, the king will go that square, so it is not possible. Okay, you can't castle through the check, you can't castle in the check. Okay, these two square controlled by the enemy pieces, so you can't castle. White in this position can't castle. So what play? First remove the knight, first eliminate the knight. Okay, then we have this, so this, then you can castle. Okay, next rule is known as en passant. En passant is a very tricky rule. En passant is a very tricky rule. The term en passant come from French word. It is a French word, en passant. It is a chess term. So en passant basically a very bizarre kind of pawn move. So very long time ago, like in 16th century and 17th century, chess, in the game of chess on that time, 16th century, 17th century, on that time, pawns are allowed to go only one square, even if it was their first move. Like in the first move also, pawn only allowed to forward for one move forward for one square. Later they changed it, and they changed the chess theory, and they told, well, the pawn can move two square in their first move because of the speed, they want some speed. And because of that system, there is a very bizarre rule called en passant. So the theory is, in the en passant, this pawn is the white pawn. Okay, so basically the fifth rank This is the fifth rank of the white pawn. And for the black, the vice versa case, like this side. So these two square pawns have a very bizarre kind of power. Pawns have a bizarre kind of power. What it is? You can see the pawn move forward for 2 square. Okay, black just moved the pawn by 2 squares. Now, if it was 16th century, the pawn can only move for 1 square and then you have the chance to capture the pawn. White have the chance to capture the pawn, but it is not possible right now. But because of the rule en passant, this is a possible. So en passant say in this position, when this type of case happened, pawn moved by 2 square in this fifth rank for the white and the 4th rank for the black, they can capture it. Like you can play cd6. You need to assume that black pawn actually moved 1 square. Okay. Second thing is en passant only works immediately after the opponent moves the pawn. It is only a 1 move chance. Okay, you need to understand that. First, right now, you can't play cd6. You can't capture the d5 pawn because this was previous move. Okay, immediately you need to use the rule en passant. If you move something different, if you move some different piece, if you do some different move, you can't use the en passant rule for the second time. But black played the move g5 right now. So now white have the chance to capture the pawn. Because suppose in this position white plays something different move like knight f3, then he played like knight f6, then you can't capture the pawn because it was not immediate. You need to capture the pawn immediate by using the en passant rule. So en passant rule basically an immediate move. You can't do other move and then you can't tell that, well, I apply the en passant rule right now. No, you can't. This only works in that time. Okay. Now the second thing is, another thing is, en passant only works if your pawn is on the 5th rank. Okay. That I told, white pawn in the 5th rank and black pawn, it will be the 4th rank. Okay. This pawn can't capture this, but this pawn, c pawn, can capture the b6 like this. Okay. Now you can see black played the move b5. So you can play c takes on b6. This move, suppose in this position white play knight f3, then you can't capture, then you can't play this move. You need to play the move immediately. That was not a force. Well, that was not a forced move. You can play something different, but you can't use the en passant rule. Okay, you can't use the en passant rule later. You can play different move. Okay, so this and this. Okay, the final thing is the stalemate. Today we are going to learn the final thing of today's lesson is the stalemate. Stalemate is basically a draw when the game is draw, and the stalemate rule when opponent don't have any legal move. There is two condition must need to be fulfilled for the stalemate. First, opponent have no move at all, even yourself. If there is no move, and second of all there is no check, so this is the stalemate. Okay, suppose you play as white and you play a very cringe move that forced black then don't have any kind of move, and that is not check. So if the game will end as draw. Okay, so in this position you can see black king have only one square left to go, because the rook on b3 covered this whole area. So if you play the move bishop e3, it is not a check and black have nowhere to go. So that is a stalemate. You can see, yes, you can see the black king have nowhere to go and it is not check. If it is a check, then it will be checkmate, but that's because it is not a check, so it is known as stalemate draw. Okay, now you can see, okay, play this check, it will go there, so it is not, so you need to calculate it very fast. Okay, so that is a stalemate, because this black pawn is blocked by his own king, so the pawn can't move and black king have nowhere to go. You can see this 4 pawn blocked, this 4 pawn blocked, actually not 4 pawn, this pawn still can move forward, but this 3 pawn completely blocked by white, okay, by white pieces. So you need to play some tricky move. Okay, if you play knight g6, it can't go here. Okay, got it. You can see that is a stalemate because black have no move. Okay, well, if you play this check, the king have nowhere to go because this knight pinned by the bishop, so this knight can't move at all. This knight can't move because of this bishop pin. Bishop pinned the knight. Okay, so it is good. And the final thing, okay, capture the rook. Okay, so it is a stalemate. Okay, so thank you all of you, thank a very thanks to all of you guys for giving your precious time to me. I hope you guys like my video, I hope you guys enjoy my video. So please do some favor to me, please hit the like button, please hit the notification button, please share the video through social media to your friends, to your family, and please subscribe my channel. Thank you very much. Good night.